Hi Camp Primos, it's my second day of camp and I feel pretty happy. Yesterday I was aiming for 5k, 5,000 words, and I hit it around midnight, which isn't too bad considering that now that it's summer and I finished my GCSEs, I pretty much go to bed at midnight every day, every night. So yeah, my writing tent, it's good for writing, and now I feel I have a buffer, although I don't really want to get too complacent because the reason I have a buffer is because I have a lot going on this July and I don't want to use it up for important days. Today's a free day, so I'm going to try and write another 5k if I can, so that I have an even bigger buffer. I did, however, only accomplish this with the help of a couple of word wars. Don't know if I mentioned, but I joined the Skype cabin, which was really useful because I don't have anyone who writes with me, and that meant I got at least 2,000 words out of Word Wars alone. If I can keep that up and I do finish my novel in 10 days, which I doubt, but you know, I'd like to spend the rest of the month planning for August and having some semblance of a social life, especially if I could encourage some other campers or like make some covers or other things that are procrastination-like, but won't be actual procrastination. Because I know last Nano, the proper November Nano, I thought it was amazing how some people would do their own novels and then at the same time offer to make wallpapers and reward schemes and covers and playlists and draw fan art of people's characters. And I thought if I could do that when I finish my novel, you know, I don't think I'm amazing at anything, but it would help other people, so that would be good. This is of course in a fantasy world where I don't have any job or other commitments, but I find that crazy optimism is really good with Nano because you kind of don't want to disappoint yourself. If you say, I'm going to do 5,000 words every day, you don't want to disappoint yourself. You sort of, your inner child, you don't want to make them go, oh. So hopefully I can guilt trip myself into doing that. I've actually got some reading of my own to do. A month ago my local library was doing a special offer on Jasper Fforde books, and he is my favourite, one of my favourite authors. So I immediately picked up all these massive paperbacks and hardbacks, and immediately put my back out, you know, lugging these. Literally the pile was this high, lugging these books all the way home, because I've got to read those as well. I suppose if I read them critically, it might count towards Nano, you know, helping improve my reading. Another good thing about yesterday is that I managed to finally fit in the Nano tradition of the travelling blue tent. Last year I was I've never been happy writing novels where I kill my characters, and I don't think I've ever really been clever enough to fit in a stealth reference or sort of allude to a news article about someone being bludgeoned to death with a shovel. So although people say you can always fit the travelling shovel of death in, I've never managed it. And I even managed to put the N on the top of the tent, the flag and the stitched word count, because the tent is perfect for my novel. It's a summer friendship, romance, school, teen type thing. So it's perfect. They go to a music festival, they sleep in a tent. And it even looks the same as the one on the logo because it's a polar exploration one. I recently went to a party where there was a polar exploration tent and it looked exactly like the one on the logo. And it even has a chimney, so that's good. How have you campers been doing with Nano traditions? You know, any of you who might be watching this? Speaking of critical reading, I have picked a few books, as you just saw. Short stories I got in a water store, £1 donating to a dyslexia charity, and it's some short stories written by some famous authors and also some authors I think around my age who I obviously won a competition, and some of them are really good, and regardless of whether they're by a famous author or not, I've decided to critically read the openings because they're all rather short. They're all, say, 5 or 6 pages. And it's good to see dialogue, just the way different people deal with dialogue, and a lot of them are in school settings, so that's my novel. I'm going to be looking at how they deal with not making the minutiae of school life really boring, but also not skimming over it too much, because I know a lot of people do have a problem with unrealistic things. Second book, Holly Black's The Poison Eaters. Holly Black is one of my favourite authors as well. Jasper Fforde, Holly Black, Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett and Scott Westerfeld are my absolute all-time favourites. These are again short stories, and they are of a bit more of a gothic bent. Some of them again are in this school setting, and they've all got young protagonists, I think. And I love Holly Becks because she manages to weave the fae and the gothic elements right into a normal setting, and it's not just urban fantasy in New York City. Holly kind of, I think, not started that genre, but she's brilliant at it. And another book which she has contributed to, I think, is Geektastic, which is about young geeks, all different forms, all different styles of writing again. Short stories, I think, are really good for critical reading because you do notice the difference between techniques because the stories are so short. So you only just have time to get used to one kind of way of writing dialogue or scenes or transitions until you're thrust into another story. And that's good because I'm not the best at critical reading and I do need practice. So yes. None of these books seem to be British, apart from the short stories. They all seem to be ones I picked up on my travelling. Like Evil Genius, which I bought in Australia. Evil Genius is by Catherine Jinks and it's brilliant. It's about a boy, Caden, who is an unreliable narrator a little bit. We are not revealed many things, just the same way he isn't, and you find out, and it's just brilliant. It's hilarious, it's also sobering, it's also suspenseful, and the way she writes is good too, and especially since we're taken through Cable's life in all different scenarios, so I'm going to critically read that. Another thing almost completely set in a school setting is 10 Things I Hate About Me by Randa Abdel Fattah. I don't know if that's pronounced very well. And it's really good, and it does have a little bit of romance like mine, but it's unorthodox. It's about Aussie Muslim who, on one side, she dyes her hair blonde, sometimes wears blue contacts, and pretends to just be a really boring, generic Aussie high school girl. And the other side, she's a family person. Her dad is a widow, and she tries to keep her family together. And she's really good. Another one of her books is called Does My Head Look Big in This? And it's set in London, and it's about a Muslim girl who decides whether or not to wear the hijab. Decides whether or not to wear the hijab, and it's brilliant. I think the way she deals with everything is really funny and really realistic and down to earth. Another one, Kiss of Life by Daniel Waters. I really wanted the first book of this, but it's I'm renting it out. I've lent Generation Dead out, and this one is lacking a little bit of the happiness and school setting that it was in the first bit, but I'm going to have a look. I do love Daniel Waters. What irritates me is I almost didn't pick up this book because it has this kind of generic cover. It just looks really Twilight-esque, and it was in the dark romance part of the bookstore, I think, and I almost didn't pick it up because I hate that. I just hate how it's so commercial. The dark romance stuff is basically like the trashy paperback Harlequin romance novels for the teenagers, and I know publishers have controls over the covers and the authors don't, but it really irritates me because even though simplistically I do kind of prefer this cover to the American ones, I always hate American covers actually compared to UK ones, but even though I do compare, and look, if you can see, the first book just has a plain black rose, so that's not as dark romance gothic-y as this one, but it annoys me. But anyway, that's not really important. So yeah, I'm going to be reading all those books, critically reading, and hopefully by tomorrow I'll be up 5,000 words and also up on my critical reading levels. Now my procrastination's over, I think I better get back to writing. I have work in 5 hours. See you all tomorrow. Bye!